Hi, I'm Chris Pratt. I'm a lecturer at DBS, the Sound and Music Institute, and an Ableton Certified Trainer. In this video, we'll be exploring the new comping features of Ableton Live 11. We'll look at three main uses for comping: comping recorded audio, comping recorded MIDI, and using comping to edit existing material. If you want to jump ahead to any of these sections, there'll be a timestamp in the description. Also, if you've got any questions about any of the topics covered, please feel free to post them in the comment section. So we'll typically use comping to record instrumental performances or vocal performances, and they will be something that we perhaps want to record into a particular section in our timeline. I'm going to use my modular synth for this demonstration, something that I do far more often in my workflow because I don't tend to perform a traditional instrument. I'm using a module created by one of my colleagues at DBS called the Stochastic Inspiration Generator, which is a chance-based module that lets me set up probabilities for particular notes sounding. I've got a track set up here to record that synth onto, which I've named Synth. Important because all of our takes that we're going to record will inherit the name of the audio track that we record them onto, so it makes organising these files later a lot easier. I've set it up to be fed from my external audio interface and the channels that I've got my modular connected to. This could equally be an input that you've got your guitar or microphone connected to. I've record enabled this track and I've looped my timeline, and I've set up a 4-bar loop here in the arrangement view. So now if I hit record, my modular's synced to MIDI clock from Ableton, so it starts to play immediately. And like I said, we might typically want to record material into a particular part of our arrangement, so we might be wanting to get a particular chorus or bridge right, so you can loop at that section of your arrangement and then have as many attempts as you need to get that particular section right, and then we can create a composite take out of all of those individual takes, just grabbing those individual sections that we got particularly right. In this case, I'm just letting this generate in a semi-random fashion lots of material that's linked to the particular notes that I've input probabilities for, which are indicated by the sliders you can see on the interface. And the way that I typically work with this sort of technique is just recording for a little while until I hear a few passages that catch my ear, and then when I'm happy that I've got enough material to work with, I can stop recording and then start to edit that material. This might be if you're performing a guitar or something, it might be just, when you feel like you've got those particularly tricky passages just right, you can then stop recording and know that you've got somewhere in all of those takes, you'll have all of the sections just the way you wanted to perform them. So I'm going to stop recording now, and you can see that it's been sequentially naming all of these takes for us. But where are these takes? They're in a new section called Show Take Lanes, and you can see that we can use the Option, Command and U shortcut to access these as well. When we click that, we see all of our individual take lanes. I'm going to hit the Z key to zoom in on that 4-bar section, and I've got the draw tool enabled at the moment. Let's just take that off for a second and use the cursor. So I can audition these individual takes, and you can see that the first one that was recorded is at the top of the stack of take lanes. I can hit this speaker icon and I can audition that take. I can select the next one and then audition this. And then before I go into editing these comps, I've just noticed that the clock was a little late on this. So the great thing about these take lanes is they behave just like regular audio tracks. I could, for instance, go and delete this little overlap section here just by hitting backspace to delete that take lane. I could also go and let's grab all of these. And let's go and correct this little timing error at the beginning. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm just going to drag these take lanes up to the very start of that note, and then I'm going to just drag these back to the start, and then I'm going to go to the end of my selection. I'm going to drag the end so they meet the loop again. And now let's hit Z again to expand that and zoom into that area. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to promote this first take up to our composite take, and I'm going to use the return key to do that. And now you can see that this first composite take is what plays back. But let's try for the second bar, let's select this second take and hit return. And now you can see that that promotes that to the composite take, and it creates a new clip in that track. So if we go back to the start. That plays them along this top take lane. We can edit these just like regular audio tracks, so I can create crossfades between those transitions to smooth them out a little. And I can go about comping with this cursor tool, just keeping hitting return. But there's a cool technique we can use with the draw tool where we can really quickly just do the same thing, and you can see that if I use the draw tool, that just immediately promotes takes to the composite track. I can also grab the edges of these sections and extend them. I can also just select, once I've got the sections that I want to replace, I can just select them. I can also make edits up here. I can select a region that I want to replace, and I can use the command and up and down keys to move through the different sections. And that's how we go about creating a comp. So now I can right click and I can deselect show take lanes, and now I get this nice tidy composite take. Something to bear in mind though is you might think that if you use Option and drag or Command D to duplicate, that you might take those takes with you. That's not the case though. If I show the take lanes again, you'll see that these retain their position in the timeline. So if you plan to do lots of different edits for different sections of your arrangement, you're going to need to create these here, copy them across, and then create another section, or you're going to have to select all of your take lanes along with your composite take track, and then you're going to have to copy those across like so, and then you can continue to comp like so. So that's how you go about using that. So I'm going to use the Option, Command and U keyboard shortcuts to just hide those take lanes. And we can also comp MIDI. So I'm going to turn this off and turn off record enable. And I've set up a similar technique on this MIDI track where I'm using the random MIDI effect and a scale device to randomly select similar notes to those that I set up on the stochastic inspiration generator in the modular. This track, I've created a new track here which is fed by the output of this track. So this is in place of, it could be a MIDI keyboard, it could be you performing some MPE stuff on an MPE capable controller. I just happen to be using another track to create some more generative MIDI data, and I've just got a wavetable instrument on this track. So I can do a similar thing here. I can record and enable this track, and then I can just hit record. And you'll see that just like the audio, the recorded MIDI loops around and the takes get numbered. and we can keep on recording again until we just get our MIDI performance just right, and we're happy that all those tricky bits have been performed the way we like. Or we could, you know, improvise, and that's one of the great things about this technique, is that it can really allow you to know that you're not going to have to do all that editing in terms of finding the correct time location for all of these takes. You're looping around the section that you want that material in, so you can feel freer to improvise with MIDI performances as well. And then once you're happy that you've got all of the stuff you need, you can stop recording, and then just like audio, we can right click and show take lanes, and then all of those individual MIDI parts are here. And we could perhaps now let's unmute the original performance. I'm going to turn off record enable. So yeah, we can edit MIDI and record takes just the same as we can with audio. Some other examples that I can show you if I just mute these tracks. We can also insert an audio track, and we can insert take lanes into an audio track. So I can use Shift Option T to add a few take lanes into this audio track, and I've already got some loops that I've recorded. So I'm going to drag these over into the take lanes, and I can hold Command to make them load onto individual take lanes. Let's just loop those. And let's go and promote this first take. And let's zoom in on that. And I'm going to use the draw tool again. So we can use pre-existing audio. We don't have to have recorded it into a take lane to make use of them. So this is why this is an incredibly powerful feature, and we can use it to really speed up our audio editing workflow. These don't have to be related loops. These are just loops that I've recorded on the same synth patch with different filter settings and slightly different envelope settings. But you could, if I just hide these again, you could use different loops from your sample libraries or different stuff that you've recorded in the past, and just chuck all that onto take lanes and start to build up more complex edits really, really quickly using this technique. Another example that we can use is let's take a drum loop that I've got here. I'm just going to drag this onto an audio track. Let's zoom out a little bit to make this a bit easier. I'm going to drag that back to the start. I'm going to change my warp mode, and I'm just going to loop around this drum loop, and I'm doing the same thing here. I'm going to just add some take lanes. I'm going to show them, and I'm going to use Shift Command and T, Option Shift and T to add some take lanes. And let's now go about creating some copies of this. So I'm going to drag this down into my first take lane, and I'm going to promote this to the top. I'm going to create another copy of it, and I'm going to make some changes to this. I'm going to just transpose this down a bit. Let's listen to that. And I'm going to create another copy, and I'm going to transpose this up a little. And let's create another one. And for this one, I'm going to just loop a section of the timeline, and I'm going to really, let's really stretch that out. And let's create some more copies based on this one. Let's go and reset the transposition. And this time I'm going to just loop around using Command L. I'm going to create a really small loop. And let's create one more, and we'll loop a different section. Okay, so now we've got the same loop, but we've just performed some different edits to this, and this is great. It shows that we can warp and use all the editing features in the sample editor that we're used to for take lanes as well. Now let's go back to our original take by taking off the speaker icon on our take lane. And I'm just going to select my loop, and I'm going to hit Z to zoom in on this. And now let's use the draw tool again. Just make sure we're still looping. So you can see that just by using the same audio clip and editing it in different ways, we can quite quickly start to create a really cool, fast technique for creating alternative edits. So if I just hide my take lanes again, so there's just a few techniques that you might find useful in utilizing composite tracks in your workflow. My name's Chris Pratt, and you've been watching my tutorial on comping with Ableton Live 11 for DBS, the Sound and Music Institute channel. If you've got any final questions, drop them in the comments below, and if you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please subscribe and ring the bell.